Hey guys, welcome to a video that I've actually wanted to make for a long time. And when I mean a long time, I've been talking years. So I'm going to be speaking about today the problem with the NRL's West Tigers, not just in 2023, but as a club.
Subscribe to Entertain House.
Let's begin with the problem that I have. The problem that I have is the CEO, Justin Pascoe. Now this goes back all the way to Ivan Cleary's coaching days. If you are a new fan to the NRL, yes, Ivan Cleary, that back-to-back coach at the Penrith Panthers, was coaching the Tigers. And his move from the Tigers to Penrith was described by Justin Pascoe as bullying. He described the situation as being bullied into this decision. Not that he wanted to go, that the Tigers felt as if they were bullied to let him go. The accountability, actions and leadership of this man for years to be the CEO of the West Tigers, enough is enough. Now, not to mention last season when the Tigers were in the same position that they were in last year. And the crazy thing is obviously they're playing Parramatta next week as they do start the season 0-5, just like last year. And I understand that people take holidays, and I understand the same thing happened with Scott Morrison for Australia, in the Prime Minister through the pandemic, things like that. But while the club was going 0-5, Justin Pascoe avoided the situation, having no comment, and took leave and went over to the Northern Territory, holidaying for himself while he was meant to be making decisions as a CEO for this club. Not to mention last night, I personally didn't see too much of this, but from what I've heard, Justin Pascoe was seen kicking around the ball in track pants and seen sitting in the sheds, not talking to the players, not speaking amongst Tim Sheens on his phone. And that for me, if I was a West Tigers fan, it's pretty disrespectful to see that someone who's meant to be bringing that leadership, making these core decisions that affect your club, is doing these things. So this is problem number one. And for me, it is the biggest problem. Problem number two is accountability. Now, the first thing is the few seasons ago, I think it was 2021, it could have even been 2020, when the West Tigers awarded 5 players their captaincy. So when they had players coming up for Captain's Challenge. But not only the accountability of the captains, it's the playing group themselves. One thing that we can all agree on, Luke Brooks is not worth $1 million. The halfback situation is very scarce at the moment in the NRL, especially with these prices of key playmakers going up, and you've seen much better prices for playmakers in recent years. So I can slightly understand the reasoning why the West Tigers have kept Luke Brooks in that starting side. I know a lot of people would disagree with that, but the money is crazy. You've seen other players take pay cuts. He's obviously not going to come out and say he's going to take a pay cut. He was obviously the 2018 Dally M halfback of the year, I know, long time ago. But not just Luke Brooks. There are other players that need to come out and saying that they're not playing their best footy. They've obviously recruited David Klemmer this season, but as much as I love someone like Alex Twal, they haven't got an aggressive forward in their side. Someone, who is going to go up and, like a Victor Radley, someone who's going to run hard and lead his team to, they're all going to be, players targeting him, and it's going to lead to important penalties for the side. There's no one in the West Tigers that, I guess Dane Laurie, Adam Dewey can kind of open up the game in parts, but in their forward pack, there isn't really aggression. And I think a very important part of NRL, especially with, the game on the line, penalty given away or a big run from a forward. I can't name a Tigers forward that can lead them downfield to win them the game. And I guess John Bateman is a great signing. That is one that I would probably say could be that decision. Stefano Utoikamanu is probably the best Tigers signing in a while, besides Api Coruscant, but he's obviously struggling this season. And the accountability is another thing, because Api Coruscant is now getting involved with these jokes with Tim Sheens about the Tigers being a few points away from getting points from the bye. Saying things like this is not going to make your fans happy. And look, I know some Tigers fans, and I just think it's disappointing for them. And it's not recent. It's been happening for years. It's to the point where it's disappointing, it's hurtful. I'm not even a Tigers fan, but I don't even want to watch them on TV anymore. And look, that's my decision to turn them off or put the TV on. But there are fans of this club who spend their money on memberships, rely on this club to make them happy, even kids as well. And there's just a lot of issue. I go back to the Justin Pascoe scenario as well. They've got this fucking podcast. It's I don't even know how to say it. It literally gets coaches or players and he goes, this was so successful back in 2019. I haven't seen YouTube comments asking for this podcast. All the comments about what I'm trying to say here, about the boss, Justin Pascoe, having no idea what is going on with this club. And I think last night kind of showed where the Tigers are at. We've seen where they're at for a while, but for the fans, man, I'm really, really sorry if there's people making some memes online. Sometimes we have a laugh at memes and jokes like that. Like, for example, Ivan Cleary losing the grand final to Melbourne. You're not getting your Maccas, Nathan. Memes like that. Love it. However, it's becoming the point where it's worse than a joke. And this is an NRL club. This is a very successful merged club. And you obviously have on the board some Western Magpies members as well as West Tigers, because obviously that's the old days before the NRL and what they've done. Now, we're all excited for, look, this Benji, Robbie Farah, all these big names, but it clearly isn't working in that sense. Maybe their roles need to be minimised. Maybe they need to be more involved more, but I don't think it's going to make a difference. The more players, great Tigers players that you just keep naming, you know, you get Scotty Prince, for example, coming into that side and you go, wow, here you go. They're going to turn it around. It's not going to happen. There is a long way to go before this club becomes successful. And look, I think the issues need to be addressed. I think for you guys, the fans, you need to know about what is happening. Look closer to what is happening in the sheds, for example, at half times, things like that. And I think, in my opinion, this all starts with Justin Pascoe making the right decision as the West Tigers CEO and standing down. If he does love this club, who knows with the attitude he has provided. But guys, that's going to do it for this video. I've obviously mentioned a few issues here. Luke Brooks being on $1 million being one of them that we can all agree with. The CEO and some of its players not taking accountability. You go back to Api Coruscant last year making jokes at the grand final saying, I'm going to go do the same thing at the West Tigers. You guys shouldn't be making jokes. You should be going on the field playing your best footy. And you know what? If you beat Parramatta next week, that is awesome. You guys need a result. It is something that I want to see. And I look at that draw, I can't even work out when the West Tigers will get the first win of the season. It's very disappointing. It's a bad start to Tim Sheens as coach. Some of his coaching decisions haven't been great. However, he's not the problem. You can't say it's time to sack Tim Sheens already. Michael Maguire also wasn't the problem. He was a great coach. I know the West Tigers results didn't reflect on that, but you saw what he was able to do at previous clubs, and I think he made some good decisions over time at the Tigers. But yeah, that's going to do it for the video. A little bit of a rant. Tigers fans, hang in there and support your club no matter what, and hopefully some changes are made in the coming year.